Hey guys, how was your Memorial Day weekend? I hope it was really good. I hope it was extremely peaceful. And sorry, I'm always I'm always I'm always grabbing stuff. All right, one of our fellow teammates, because yet again, I hate to say subscribers, but I'm gonna say one of our fellow teammates. She knows who she is. Asked me last week to do a video on the importance of going no contact. What I want to say about that, though, as promised, here's that video for you. Love you. So, um, I believe that it's not just important to go no contact. It's important to go there and stay there. Going there is like the first challenge, right? And once you get over that hurdle, you need to stay no contact. I never share this story really with a lot of people, almost ever, especially now. But I'll give it to you because I hope that it helps you out. So here's another story from my life. Story time, right? Um, when I was with my first out of two narcissists, right? Um, in that relationship, when it ended, okay, because he started doing heavy drugs, not just regular heavy drugs. In this case, we were an interracial couple, and he started doing crack cocaine, okay? And he wasn't home a lot, but literally, like it would be like 2 and 3 months at a time. He would be on like a binge, right? And the few times he did come home, he was extremely violent. One of those times in which I had to, I lived on like the first floor, but the first floor was elevated, so you could technically call it like the second floor. One of which where this is just a quick story where he tackled me and my pinky toe, my little toe, and I have little feet, right? Bent backwards, so much so that it split almost like off of the foot. I know that's a gross story, but I'm just keeping it real with you. It split and almost came off of my foot, but it didn't go down to the bone. There was muscle, like you could look into it. And I realized that was the first time I was like, oh my God, obviously something's very wrong. Blood all over the kitchen floor. And where you would think he would say, let's call an ambulance, I'm like, I really need to go to the hospital. He looms over me and starts yelling, you gonna call the police now? You gonna say it's my fault? Now everything's my fault? And I'm like, where the fuck did that come from? Like, my toe was almost hanging off, right? Which I then, out of fear at the time, took tape, like tape, and wrapped my foot to keep my toe on. And it took, miraculously, I did not get an infection, but it took like a month or two to actually reconnect and heal on its own, which it did. My toe was fine. But that same individual, while he was gone, had impregnated a fellow crackhead, right? And at the time, we were married. I was married to him before I got married to this last individual, and impregnated her. I found that out while I was simultaneously having I had to leave work because I was bleeding everywhere randomly and I was having a miscarriage. Okay. Um, I, when I got to the hospital, while the doctor was digging out the, trigger warning, but I gotta tell you, while the doctor was digging out like chunks of this like small, you know, baby, and throwing it in the trash, I got a phone call while on the table saying that, from a sheriff saying that he was in the police car and he was on his way to jail. Okay? which means I was having a miscarriage simultaneously while this mistress was about to have my husband's baby. Okay. All right. So fast forward, I lost my job. I lost my job. I was working for a school as a little kid school teacher, and I was working at a Catholic school, and I had a really horrific nun who is now dead, I believe. She was a bitch. But the nun was such a bitch that she didn't care about the fact that I had to go and have a miscarriage. And I told her about the abuse because I thought, religious situation, you should be able to tell a nun that you're going through this. And I would, like, you could see the bruises on my face from one particular incident, with makeup kind of trying to cover it or whatever. But they were big, you know what I'm saying? And I had to take time off to heal from being punched in the face a bunch of times and almost having my neck broken. So I couldn't go to work like that. I mean, I could not go to work like that. So I got fired or whatever, which caused me to then be late on my rent, which then caused me to be up for eviction. Okay, this is in Maryland. So I just started packing. I started packing everything. I didn't know where I was going to go. Of course, I had a small child at the time. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to pack. I'm going to pack as if I know that I have somewhere to go. And 3 days before I put my stuff in storage, I got a phone call for where I live now. It was a letter, not a phone call. It was a letter saying, it's been 3 years and your time on the waiting list is finally here. We have an apartment for you, which is the only reason I took that efficiency. Okay. I chose to leave. It was good that he was in jail because I chose to leave, and it was a peaceful way to move. I had to call someone down, from North Carolina, help me out to get a moving truck and move here back to Washington, D.C. or whatever. And thank God it was 3 days, um, pretty much before they were going to evict me. I used to be friends with the neighbors across the hall. I'd always try to be friends with my neighbors because you never know if they'll need you or you'll need them, right? So I was friends with the neighbors at the time. And once I moved, I got a phone call because I was connected to this like safe house thing where they call you automated phone calls to let you know when that individual that attacked you is getting out of jail. Okay. So I move into this apartment, and like a few days afterwards, I get a phone call from the neighbors. The ex, had shown up to the apartment, realized that no one lived there because he knocked on my neighbor's door, whom he knew I was friends with at the time. And they let him know, like, nah, she moved. But I didn't tell them either where I moved. You don't tell anybody shit like that. You just go, okay? Number one of staying no contact. Don't say shit. Get your shit and just go. Tell no one about it unless they're like your mom and your mom isn't in contact with a narc or something, and you just leave. You do not threaten to leave. You fucking leave, right? He showed up with a fucking machete, and what was his plans? To murder me. It was to murder me, right? And lo and behold, when he couldn't find me, he called the number, and he tried to lure me in with like money. Oh, I have some money. I heard you moved. I would love to help you with some stuff. I mean, I could come and pick you up. What's your location? I never told him my location. Ironically, and in a fucked up way, I had just gotten, because it had been like a year that he was in jail. So I had that kind of peace, right? But I had just gotten into a new relationship after moving into DC, which so happened to be this last narc that we're talking about all the time, right? And then the last narc got on the phone and told him, because he heard a man's voice, don't call anymore. So he didn't. That's the same guy that I just talked about last week, having called, well, not called me, but Facebook messengered me to apologize and all that shit, right? No, that's not what you do. Had I, okay, had I stayed contact, right? Stayed in contact, I wouldn't have left that apartment. I would have stayed there, opened the door, got hacked up with a machete, and then you guys probably would have heard some random story on the news about a young mixed female in dispersed into several trash bags somewhere in Maryland. So yes, it's very important to stay no contact. Go there and stay there. Let me add something though. I think it's important to not only go no contact with the narc, but anybody that knows that narcissist, right? I think you should go no contact with them too. Okay? Why? Because after I got divorced from this last narc, right? Um, all these random people, I mean people that you think that you were friends with. Some were neighbors, and some were just random people on the street that I speak to on a daily basis in passing, right? All of a sudden they can all come up to you and, oh, I saw your ex-husband, he was at the grocery store with another woman. I saw your ex-husband, he was at this restaurant around the corner from your house with another woman. Oh, I saw your husband, he was with this dude that he's being gay with. Oh, I saw your husband on his bike doing this at this gas station. Or I saw your, yeah. Or I won't say it out loud right now. I can't give names because I know that the ex-narc watches this, and I don't really have time to have beef with people that he knows, but we'll just say certain people that he knows. I bumped into those people too, and they were like, oh yeah, I did see him in bed with his gay best friend and slash lover. I did see him bring another female and her child to a place where we all kick it. Yeah, I did see him with a prostitute that one time and didn't say anything. Oh, yeah, yeah, I did see that, right? That's not information you should count as valuable. You know why? Well, it's valuable, but for not the same reason that they would think it's valuable in telling you. They think it's valuable because they're telling you something that you don't know. No, you already know the shit. You already know it, right? But what it is they're telling you now that the narc probably fucked them over. They're telling you now because they want something from you. They're telling you now after everything's said and done and you don't give a fuck anymore and you've gone no contact. You have to be like a bird. Remember, bird's eye view to me means flying above the bullshit, but being able to zero in on what's actually happening down below. We'll call that lower level vibrational energy, right? Why they're telling you now. So what you really need to be thinking in your mind, but you don't have to say it out loud to them, is, so what you're saying to me is you knew the whole time and you saw all that shit and you said nothing about it. You watched me go through that, which means you're just equally as responsible as that piece of trash over there. That's why you go no contact with everybody that is in contact with that narcissist. No contact means them, their mamas. If they have a dad, fuck them too. If you like their kids because you met their other kids, sorry kiddos, you gotta go too. If they had a dog, fuck the dog. If they had a cat, fuck that cat. You get my drift. You get my point. You know, you heard, you dig. Okay? So you get rid of everybody. Everybody that is connected to that person. There's someone on the street right now that I used to talk to all the time. Just speak to in passing. I saw that narc kicking it with him. He wonders right now why whenever I pass by, I don't say shit. And I'm never going to say shit. Because you know what's going on. And you still chose to hang out with that narc. So therefore, you were now in the trash can with Oscar the Grouch and the rest of them narky motherfuckers that are angry and bummed out and sad and dirty and broke as fuck and disgusting. So sorry, baby, but if you do not go no contact and stay no contact, it may quite literally cost you your life, your freedom, because if they don't get to hurt you, it's because you were forced to then hurt them, whether it's shooting them, having to stab them in the neck because they're on you, attacking you, anything. And you don't have that kind of time to deal in low vibrational bullshit. If you got a bunch of money to go to the grocery store, do not the fuck eat out the trash just for kicks. Okay? So, sorry if this video is a little short. I just got finished celebrating my daughter's 3-year-old birthday on the 6th. Like right after Memorial Day. That's my daughter that I had with my ex-narc. And of course, you know, those are times you want to make like memorable in a really great way and not negative, being that narcissists are horrible parents as well, obviously. Okay, so I just took a hiatus a little bit, a couple days to reroute, readjust, harness my chi, and meditate and motivate me. But I hope that's a little bit helpful to you as to why you should go no contact. Had I opened the door and let my heart think for myself instead of going head above heart, sometimes you just think with your head, your heart will get you fucked up. Tell that motherfucker to go to sleep for a little bit. You know, don't be a cold person, but sometimes that fucker needs to shut up. You gotta think with your head, right? Then I would have been dead. So anyway, hope this helps, and I will come to you guys again soon. I cannot wait for Halloween. I have a real good one for you. But we'll talk some more in September. And I love y'all. And I hope your weekend was great. All right, bye.